What if history is wrong, the past is buried on purpose, and ancient secrets were never meant to be found? Let's try to uncover the truth. Deep in Romania's Busegi Mountains, there's a stone formation that sparked decades of theories, secrets, and heated debates. It's known as the Romanian Sphinx, not because someone gave it that name recently, but because this rock, sculpted by wind and time, looks uncannily like a human face. Not just any face either. We're talking about something that resembles ancient Egyptian carvings. Coincidence? That's the question that keeps surfacing. This strange natural monument sits at over 7,000 feet above sea level and faces directly west. When the sun sets on a certain day in November, the last rays of light align perfectly with its facial features, creating a haunting effect that doesn't feel random. Geologists say it's just erosion, nature at work, but not everyone's buying that. Here's where it gets wild. In 2003, classified documents allegedly leaked from Romania's Department of Defense described massive underground tunnels beneath the Sphinx. Some say they stretch for miles and connect to chambers full of unknown technology, ancient inscriptions, and even otherworldly artifacts. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but several researchers and former insiders insist these tunnels exist, and have been sealed off from the public for a reason. Some believe the Sphinx is much more than a rock. It's a marker, placed there by an ancient civilization. Maybe even one that predates everything we know about human history. Local legends speak of the guardians of the mountain, entities said to protect whatever lies beneath the Busegi Plateau. Some hikers report strange electromagnetic interference near the Sphinx. Phones lose signal, compasses spin. Could it all be just stories and optical illusions? Sure. But too many pieces don't quite fit into the puzzle if we only look at it from the surface. Under the noisy streets of downtown Los Angeles, there may be something no one expects: an ancient underground city. Back in 1933, a geophysical engineer named G. Warren Schufelt claimed to have discovered a vast network of tunnels stretching beneath the city. He believed they were built by a race he called the Lizard People, a civilization that, according to Hopi legends, survived a great catastrophe by going underground thousands of years ago. Schufelt even created detailed blueprints using a device he said could detect underground voids. He claimed the tunnels led to rooms filled with tablets, gold, and advanced technology. His maps showed spiraling passages beneath what's now Pershing Square and modern skyscrapers. The local press ran with the story, and digging began. Then all of a sudden, the project was shut down, and the reports disappeared. Geologists dismissed it as fantasy, yet some anomalies remain. Why were parts of downtown restricted during that time? And why did later urban planning studies show strange voids and reinforced areas beneath the city's foundations? The idea sounds crazy, until you remember how many cultures talk about advanced beings hiding beneath the earth. Whether it's myth, misinterpretation, or something deliberately covered up, the tunnels of LA keep people guessing. And digging deeper might be exactly what someone doesn't want us to do. Thousands of miles away from Los Angeles, in what is now Jordan, archaeologists uncovered something that looks straight out of another world. The Ain Ghazal statues, dating back over 9,000 years, are some of the oldest known human figures ever found. But their faces are what really pull you in. Large, wide eyes, thin, expressionless lips, heads stretched long and smooth with features that don't quite match human proportions. They were buried intentionally, placed in pits and groups. No writings, no carvings to explain them, just these eerie, humanish figures that seem like they were made to be remembered, or maybe to be hidden. Some researchers say they represent gods or ancestors. Others suggest they could reflect visitors who didn't come from Earth at all. Here's where things get even stranger. The statues were made with extreme care from plaster and reed, which means the builders had serious knowledge of materials and preservation. They also used crushed shells for the eyes, giving them a gleaming, lifelike stare. Official theories stick to ritual or symbolism, but alternative researchers point to one thing: those faces don't resemble humans from 9,000 years ago. They resemble something else entirely. And maybe the people of Ain Ghazal weren't just building statues, maybe they were documenting something they saw, or someone they met. All over Scotland, high on windswept hills, lie ruins of ancient stone fortresses that have baffled scientists for decades. These aren't just crumbled walls. The stones have been fused together by extreme heat, melted until they turned into glass. It's a process called vitrification, and we still don't know how Iron Age people pulled it off. There are over 60 of these forts, from the highlands to the coast, and no one can agree on their purpose. Some theories say the heat was used to strengthen the walls, others believe it was done during sieges. But the temperatures required, over 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, would be almost impossible with basic fire technology. No charcoal pits, no furnaces, no soot. Just fused stone, silent and unexplained. Some researchers suggest that these sites could have been affected by something else. Massive plasma discharges, lost energy weapons, or even natural anomalies we don't understand yet. And some, more quietly, question whether these forts were even built by humans alone. Whatever caused the vitrification, it's like part of the blueprint of ancient Scotland has been erased, leaving behind a glassy riddle on top of lonely hills. In 1889, workers drilling for water in Nampa, Idaho hit something that made no sense at all. At a depth of over 300 feet from a layer of rock dated to be around 2 million years old, they pulled up a tiny clay figurine. Less than 2 inches tall but perfectly human in shape, arms, legs, a clear face, even signs of carving tools. The problem? According to every timeline we've ever taught, no humans existed in North America 2 million years ago. In fact, humans weren't even believed to have evolved into their modern form at that point. So what was this doing there? Skeptics have tried to explain it away. Maybe it fell down a natural fissure, maybe it was a hoax. But geological surveys showed no cracks, and the surrounding rock was undisturbed. If it really was sealed in ancient sediment, the implications are massive. Either humans were on this continent long before we ever imagined, or someone else was. This isn't just a mystery about a figurine, it's a crack in the foundation of human history. Beneath the blistering deserts of northern Mexico lies a place that looks like it came from another planet. The Nika Mines Crystal Cave is filled with some of the largest crystals ever found. Massive, translucent pillars stretching over 30 feet long and weighing up to 55 tons. These aren't just pretty rocks, they're geological giants, formed in total darkness, in heat and humidity that would kill a human in minutes. Discovered by accident in 2000, the cave had been sealed off for tens of thousands of years. The crystals grew slowly in mineral-rich water, undisturbed, in nearly perfect conditions. But even now, scientists don't fully understand why these crystals reach such massive sizes. And what's stranger is what they found inside them. Researchers discovered microscopic life forms trapped within the crystals, ancient microbes that may have been alive for tens of thousands of years. Some were revived in labs, others didn't match any known species. Officially, they're just extremophiles. Unofficially, some wonder if these are signs of a much older, deeper biosphere beneath Earth's surface, one that barely touches our known science. Nika isn't just a natural wonder, it's a door to something we're only beginning to understand. We all know the Great Sphinx of Giza, one of the world's most iconic monuments, but what most people don't know is what might be hidden beneath it. In the 1990s, researchers using ground-penetrating radar discovered unexplained cavities and tunnels under the monument's paws and body. Large chambers, geometric shapes, and so far, no full explanation. The official response? Silence. Egypt's authorities acknowledged the scans but claimed the voids were just natural spaces in the bedrock. But scientists involved in the scan, some working independently, believe there's more. Several even claimed access to the chambers was quietly blocked. Ancient texts, including ones from the Greek historian Herodotus, mention hidden libraries beneath Giza. One theory suggests that the Sphinx guards the legendary Hall of Records, a lost archive of ancient knowledge predating even the pharaohs. Of course, mainstream archaeologists say it's all myth. Still, the data from the scans is real, and it begs the question, if there's nothing important down there, why hasn't anyone officially excavated it? Why are these chambers off limits? What's under the Sphinx may change history, or it may already have. In a sacred temple near Lima, Peru, archaeologists made a discovery that turned heads and raised eyebrows. Buried beneath the floor of the ancient Pachacamac temple was a mummy, but not like the others. This one had an elongated skull, a strange skeletal structure, and was wrapped tightly in ropes and thick textiles. No grave goods, no name, just a figure that didn't look entirely human. The temple was a major religious site for centuries, visited by Inca and pre-Inca pilgrims. But this burial stood apart. Some researchers think it was a high-ranking priest bound for ritual reasons. Others noticed that the skull and bones showed physical traits that were outside the norm, even among known indigenous populations of the Andes. Was it a deliberate cranial deformation, or something else? Alternative theorists suggest this could have been a preserved figure from an unknown lineage, or a visitor from somewhere far beyond. What adds to the mystery is the secrecy surrounding the dig. Not all photos were released, only limited information made it to the public, and those who've seen the mummy up close say its proportions are unlike anything they've studied before. Whatever it is, the Pachacamac mummy doesn't just raise questions, it refuses to answer them. Thousands of mystery is why so many want to bury them, again. In the quiet countryside of Wiltshire, England, there's a massive hill that looks totally out of place. Silbury Hill. It's the largest man-made mound in Europe, over 130 feet tall, and 500 feet wide at the base. Built more than 4,000 years ago, it took an enormous amount of labor to construct. But here's the mystery. It doesn't seem to serve any clear purpose. There are no tombs inside, no temples, no treasure. Just layer after layer of chalk, soil, and clay, stacked with unbelievable precision. Excavations in the 20th century found nothing but empty chambers and perfectly symmetrical construction. It wasn't used as a fortress, it wasn't a burial site. So why did ancient people spend decades building something so massive, then leave no clues behind? Some theories say Silbury Hill was an astronomical marker, others think it was a ceremonial platform. But none of that really explains the scale, the effort, or the silence that followed. And then there are the strange magnetic readings taken near the top, anomalies that don't match the surrounding geology. A few researchers even suggest it was used to harness Earth's natural energy, like a prehistoric power station. It may not have a door, but Silbury Hill opens up one of the strangest unsolved questions in ancient Europe. A monument too large to ignore, built for reasons still completely unknown. Carved into a remote cliff face, two massive stone hands jut out over a canyon, fingers detailed, nails carved, and proportions eerily human. No one knows who made them. There are no records, no surrounding ruins, and no official explanation. Just the hands, as if frozen mid-motion, guarding something only they understand. The carvings don't match any known culture from the region, and they're far too precise to be accidental. Some suggest they're remnants of a larger statue now lost to erosion. Others believe they mark the entrance to something hidden deep within the mountain, maybe even an ancient chamber sealed off for thousands of years. Add in the odd magnetic anomalies reported nearby and the mystery deepens. In 1972, French scientists studying uranium deposits in Oklo, Gabon made a discovery that, totally stunned the scientific community. The uranium ore showed signs of having undergone nuclear fission, naturally, but not just once. Over 1.8 billion years ago, a chain reaction sustained itself for hundreds of thousands of years. It was almost as if someone had built a nuclear reactor in deep time and just left it to run. Experts tried to explain it. The right mix of uranium, groundwater, and geology made a self-sustaining reaction possible, by sheer coincidence. But honestly, many physicists found that explanation a bit too convenient. The conditions had to be incredibly precise. One researcher even said it would be like finding a working clock buried in a rock. Alternative theorists took it further. What if it wasn't natural at all? What if a now-lost civilization, or something else entirely, designed it intentionally? Could this have been an ancient energy source, now misinterpreted as a freak of nature? The Oklo reactor blurs the line between science and impossibility. And it raises a question no one really wants to answer: are we truly the first advanced beings to use nuclear power on Earth? In the remote Bayan Har mountains of China near the border with Tibet, a group of archaeologists allegedly uncovered something bizarre in the 1930s. Hundreds of stone discs buried in caves, each about a foot across, with a hole in the center and these microscopic grooves spiraling from edge to center. These are the Drapa stones, and according to reports, they were unlike anything ever seen before. Some researchers claimed the grooves weren't just decorations, they were written messages. When translated decades later, the story was honestly unbelievable. A group of extraterrestrials crash-landed on Earth thousands of years ago and just couldn't leave. They eventually died or were absorbed into local tribes. Sounds too wild to be true, and maybe it is. Officially, the stones don't exist. Museums deny having them. Chinese authorities called the story fiction, but photos exist. Descriptions match across sources. And some of the caves where the stones were found are real, with wall carvings showing short, large-headed beings. Whether hoax or cover-up, the Drapa stones left behind just enough evidence to keep the debate alive, and just enough mystery to suggest we're missing something big. Buried deep under the wilderness of Alaska, near Mount Denali, there may be a pyramid, not made of stone, but of an unknown black material, supposedly larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The story first emerged in 1992 after a U.S. satellite allegedly detected a strange geometric anomaly underground. Soon after, military activity around the region spiked, and access to nearby sites was, quietly restricted. Local stories, some going back generations, speak of a dark structure hidden beneath the earth. Hunters and pilots have reported unusual electromagnetic interference, including navigation systems failing near the suspected area. One retired military official even claimed the pyramid wasn't just a relic, it was active. Some believe it's a power source. Others think it's a remnant of an advanced pre-human civilization, or something even older. No one has officially confirmed the pyramid exists, but the silence around it is almost louder than a denial. And with so much untouched land and so many secrets buried beneath Alaska's ice and rock, it's easy to wonder, what else is hidden where no one is allowed to look? Vikings were expert navigators, crossing vast stretches of ocean long before the invention of the compass. But how did they steer through fog and storm without any modern tools? One clue may lie in an ancient crystal, often referred to as the Viking sunstone. Found in shipwrecks and sagas, this transparent stone could split light in a way that made it possible to locate the sun, even on cloudy days. Scientists tested Iceland spar, a type of calcite crystal, and found it really could detect the sun's position using polarized light. That's not folklore, that's physics. The crystal acts almost like a natural GPS system. But the big question is, how did Norse sailors know this? There's no written manual, no training guide, just artifacts and oral traditions. Some researchers believe this knowledge was passed down from even older cultures. Others say it hints at contact with civilizations far beyond Europe. The fact that such technology existed over 1,000 years ago, only to disappear, makes people wonder if we've lost more than we've discovered. Maybe these stones weren't just tools. Maybe they were relics from something much larger. Near the base of the Great Pyramid, workers unearthed something shocking, a full-sized, perfectly preserved wooden ship, disassembled and buried in a sealed pit. It became known as the Khufu ship, over 140 feet long, made from Lebanese cedar, and pieced together without nails. But here's the twist, it wasn't built to sail. There's no sign it ever touched water, no sail rigging, no anchors. It was buried like a secret, tucked away with extreme care. Some historians say it was a solar bark, a ceremonial boat meant to carry Pharaoh Khufu into the afterlife. But the engineering is far too advanced to write off as symbolic. Every joint, plank, and curve serves a function. Alternative theories suggest it was a replica of a lost technology, possibly a craft used for something far beyond religious metaphor. Transport between realms? A sky vessel from ancient myth? Or maybe it hints at something Egyptians inherited from a forgotten era. The more you study it, the harder it gets to believe it was made just to sit underground forever. You've probably heard of Göbekli Tepe, the ancient temple complex in Turkey that rewrote our understanding of prehistory. But fewer people know that just 22 miles away lies Karahan Tepe, its lesser-known, possibly older twin. Only partially excavated, this site is revealing even stranger clues about the people who built it. Here, giant T-shaped pillars rise from the ground similar to those at Göbekli Tepe, but what makes Karahan Tepe unique are the humanoid carvings, staring faces, and full statues emerging from the bedrock. These figures don't resemble tribal art, they look deliberate, expressive, and almost modern. The site also includes a sunken chamber with a single sculpted human head watching over the space. Some archaeologists say it was a ritual center. Others think it was part of a network of unknown sites from a civilization we barely understand. And then there's the timing. Karahan Tepe dates back over 11,000 years, before pottery, before the wheel, before cities. This isn't just an old temple, it's a signal, a message from a time when history says we were still hunter-gatherers. Someone had the knowledge, the tools, and the intention to build something far beyond what should have been possible. And they buried it, on purpose. Deep in the Ecuadorian jungle lies one of the most mysterious cave systems on Earth, Tayos. For centuries, the indigenous Shuar people have told stories of strange beings, underground temples, and a hidden metallic library left by a forgotten race. These tales were mostly ignored until the 1970s, when explorers claimed they saw things inside the caves that defied all logic. Massive carved chambers, polished stone walls, and metal plates engraved with unknown symbols. That alone would be enough to spark worldwide interest. But then, things got even stranger. In 1976, a major international expedition was launched into the caves. The team included engineers, scientists, military personnel, and one person who shocked everyone, Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon. Officially, he joined for geological research. Unofficially, people started to whisper, why would a man who walked on another world travel into the depths of this one? Reports from that expedition were vague. Some members said they found nothing. Others off-record hinted at discoveries that were quietly locked away. Soon after, access to key areas of the cave was restricted. And the supposed metallic library? No images, no samples, and no public records ever surfaced. What were they really looking for in Tayos? Advanced technology? Evidence of an ancient, non-human civilization? Or something buried so deep it could change what we know about our past? The Shuar still say the caves are guarded, and maybe they are, for good reason. Whatever lies in the darkness of Tayos hasn't been forgotten. It's just being kept quiet. That's about it. Which discovery surprised you the most? Write in the comments. For more useful information, watch other videos.